Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and it's week 6. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time to talk about some props. Of course, we can't do that without the prop prophet. Andrew Erickson is here. There may or may not be a t-shirt on the way. I don't know how you got a t-shirt in this place before I got a t-shirt, but whatever. We'll have a HR meeting about that later. Next week, perhaps, but also helping us sort through the props for week 6 in the NFL. Back again from the Volume Network, Moneyline Monaco. Alex Monaco back again. Monaco, you are a Charger fan. We know this from spending time with you. Yesterday on the show, Joe Ranieri, there you go, representing. Yesterday on the show, Joe Ranieri was talking about the best bet of the week is to bet the Chargers on the money line for the first half of that game, and then wait to see what the number is for the Dallas Cowboys and take the plus money there for the win live during the game. Do you endorse that message, Alex?
You know, Joe, first off, thanks for having me again, Erickson, as well. I'm so I think I'm New York numb with walking around Manhattan, and I'm really just SoCal soft when it comes to being able to understand this Chargers team with Staley. 13 one-score games they've lost. Again, I love the prep of an extra week off a bye at home, primetime. There are some trends that support the Chargers. I mean, to Ranieri's point, I'd probably go first half. I can't see a world where the Cowboys, and I might flip-flop 9 times on this game, but I can't see a world where the Cowboys, Cowherd's got that theory. You get the brakes beat off you on Natty TV, you're humbled, you're embarrassed, you come back a little tightened up. The Chargers are just that team that wins games they're not supposed to and loses games they're supposed to win. So all that to say, if I were to take anything, I would tail the first half because they're probably going to blow it down the stretch, and you'll probably get some good plus money on the Cowboys.
There you go. SoCal soft, but it looks like we got a hard line there on the money line for the Chargers in the first half. I've already bet it. I told Ranieri right after the show. I went right for it. Andrew Erickson, Thursday Night Football last night. If you were watching our live stream or if you were in our Discord at fantasypros.com/chat and join Betting Pros there, I popped in there to let everybody know that the number had changed to 17.5. And I was like, you better jump on this bad boy because there's no way the Kansas City Chiefs are pulling away by that extent. And of course they did not. It was 10.5 was a spread. 10 is it ended up being there. So the half really screwed myself and Monaco on that one. However, if you were smart enough to go in the 17 when it did. But for you, Andrew Erickson, as you're sitting around on Sunday, how important has the live betting aspect for you been this year?
Well, I think that if you are, the luxury of watching specifically one game, if you're not just like tuned into Red Zone, you get a better understanding of like how the flow of the game is going. Like you're seeing how the teams, like who's winning at the line of scrimmage. Like you can clearly tell, and it may not necessarily reflect in the actual statistical numbers because there could be holding penalties. There could be things that are causing why this team is scoring. Oh, they keep getting turnovers in the red zone, and that's why they keep scoring, but they're not moving the ball in between the 20s. Like stuff like that is really important. And then when you know a team is dead in the water, like watching the Chiefs last night, it's like, dude, they're not going to move the ball. Like this is just not their night offensively to move the ball. Like last week, I liked the Patriots, but then I realized this is not going anywhere. And I bet Saints plus 27.5, which I never thought I would ever do. But I did because I was like, I'm watching this game. I'm like, okay, like what's the live line? It's like the Patriots can't score. They can't get out of their own way. So plus 27.5 it is.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that there is an advantage if you are tuned into one specific game to keep an eye on the lines as things kind of update as plays are going on and be like, I think there's some value here. So yeah, definitely something to pay attention to.
And speaking of keeping your eyes on the lines, make sure that you are setting those game notifications again with the line alerts over on Betting Pros. You can set those and monitor the game lines as they move the next few days or even during the game as well. So stay on top of everything with the Betting Pros app. All right, let's kick things off here for the props for week 6. Alex Monaco, you're our guest, so let's start things off with you. What do you have for the people?
I'm going to go with a little bit of, I'm going to go philosophy here on an NBA diva play here in the NFL, gentlemen. I love players in the NBA going against their ex, and we have a brilliant one, and we're getting plus money wherever you shop. I'm taking Minshew Magic on the road at his old home that originally believed in him in Jacksonville. I'm taking 1.5 touchdowns over to the Jacksonville Bank all day. Here's the thing. He hasn't really given us a sun up to sundown game because he's the best relief pitcher in the NFL. He's coming out of the bullpen like the Braves wish they could have had last night. It's not statistically a number that you love because he's got 2 tugs on the year. But you look at how he danced against the Ravens. He threw the ball 44 times, 227 in a tutty, and then the other start where he had a little more rhythm, 19 for 23 in a tug. But this is a top 7 Jacksonville run D. And so you look at last week where on Jonathan Taylor signing day, Zack Moss goes ballistic, and that kind of chews up a little bit of the passing stats. I like the value coupled with the storyline and the fact that if the Colts are going to go in, I do like them +4 in this game and win the game. I don't think they do it on the ground. I think they do it in the air. All that to say, Josh Allen, you look at the splits from passing to rushing in London, which I don't know what they were thinking, like a bunch of frat boys showing up on a Friday for a Sunday game, like it's a long weekend across the pond. Made no sense there. All that to say, Jacksonville is susceptible in the pass game. I like the value. I like the versus the X. I'll take the shot here at Minshew going for 2 tutties.
Agreed. I like the numbers on Pittman and Downs you're getting as well. Andrew Erickson, let's go to you for one of your favorite prop bets for week 6. What do you have?
I'm going to DeVonta Smith over 4.5 receptions. You get this at plus money at BetMGM. Look, we're getting back in the car, Joe. We're getting back into narrative street here. And the Eagles just feature whatever guy doesn't get the ball the week before. Because every week on the sideline, someone's like, A.J. Brown's not getting the ball. Dallas Goedert's not getting the ball. And what happens next week? They get the ball because the Eagles are going to score points. It's just a matter of, who are we going to decide has the big game today? And the way that the matchup just shapes up to be is, all right, Sauce Gardner's probably going to be more on A.J. Brown. Makes sense. He's their number 1. So what does that mean? DeVonta Smith is going to get the softer looks, and it means he's going to get the ball. So the only reason Smith doesn't ever produce in games is just because the other guys produce in games. So I think this is an advantage to get some plus money. He's obviously coming off a game where he wasn't involved, but we've seen him put up monster games when he's the featured piece. I just think this matchup is a DeVonta Smith game.
Yeah, certainly good reasoning behind that. All right, back to you, Alex Monaco. Give us another potential prop bet you're in on for week 6.
We're going across the pond, Joe. We're going to this Ravens bounce back spot. I'm laying the 4 in a gross game. I would never lay the 4 because Titans Ravens feels like it's 2003 I-form formation when they play. But all that to say, 7 drops was the storyline in the Ravens game last week. We know about the gift that Lamar gave the Steelers there on that Odell, who needs to maybe go play with his kids at this point if he's not going to jump for a jump ball. All that to say, I'm looking at Zay Flowers here, over 56.5 receiving on DraftKings. Now, he does lead the team with 63, but he's off a season high of targets and double digits, which I love. And this is a guy that's got a high yards per catch, really coming from college into the league, a high yards per catch. I mean, you look at some of the long catches he's had. He's had an over 50-yard catch. He had a 43-yard catch. Reception-wise, no particular order, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. I think he's going to get the looks. Again, the Titans, we'll see Simmons a little banged up, Tart a little banged up. We'll see if they both go, if one of them goes. All that to say, Titans have a much better run D than they do a pass D. Bottom 10 pass D. I believe Derek Carr went over 300 yards once this year, and it was only against the Titans. I think this is a statement game, and unlike the Bills showing up on Friday, Johnny Harbaugh got over there on Monday. This is a dialed-in team that has not lost back-to-back games with Lamar in 2 years. I'm going to take this spot for Zay. I think he is the wide receiver of emphasis today on Sunday in London.
I like it. And Zay's just got to hold on to the football along with the rest of the Ravens because that was a horrendous. By the way, just for the record, 2003 Madden, I was running the hell out of that Power I. I was dominating that piece back in the day.
I love it.
On the PS2. Let's go. All right, Andrew Erickson, that's a PlayStation 2. I know, just for those of you, I know you're younger. I don't know if you... What was your first video game system, Erickson? What was it?
My parents had a Nintendo, so I played that when I was very young. But the one I grew up most
like
playing
a regular
was
old school Nintendo they had?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they had
not
one.
Even the super
They had
variety. All right.
No, I know that one. I skipped over that one. I never really played the Super Nintendo, so I played the Genesis a little bit. But the one that I called my own was the N64. That's what I played.
That was your youth. See, this is I've known you all these years, and these are important things to still get to know about you. All right, let's get to know another one of your props for this week, Erickson. What do you have?
going to the Browns 49ers game, which
yikes.
I mean, I don't know how much
Man,
fun
I'm
this
so
is going to be
happy
to
I
watch.
locked in that 5 on Sunday night. Ooh-wee. Let's go.
So, yeah, speaking of how bad that Titans defense is, that's the last time we saw Deshaun Watson play a good football game was against the Titans, and who knows when we'll see him ever again. But when it comes to the Browns offense, Jerome Ford is going to get the start again in the running back. His prop is at 35.5 rushing yards, and I think it's still too high. The 49ers are allowing the lowest rushing yards per game to running backs at 43 rushing yards per game. And Jerome Ford ranks second last, or actually last in the NFL in rushing success rate. He had that one big run against the Steelers when Nick Chubb got hurt and has done pretty much nothing since that moment in time. So the fact that he's posted totals of 18 yards, 26 yards in his 2 starts, like as the guy, I mean, why are we expecting him to then, he's going to come out of the bye week, he's going to be so much better, this team's going to run the football against the 49ers with a backup quarterback, with PJ Walker? We saw PJ Walker play for Carolina. Saw him playing the XFL.
That's
he was good in the XFL, but this ain't no XFL defense.
No.
This is the 49ers defense with a lot of guys that are going to cause problems for them. So even though at home, I'm just taking the under.
I know what people are thinking. They're thinking, 35, that's low. That's gross. Nope. I'm with Erickson. It's the under too. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Like I said, I'm just giddy. This is why you stay with us on Mondays for the Look Ahead show. We take a look at these early lines. I lost my mind about this. I was like, how in the world is this at -5? Did we not watch what happened on national television as Monaco was talking about these national televised games? Did we not see the full force of the 49ers and how they're going to go up? I don't care how good the Browns defense is. I don't care. It's not that good. It's not good enough to stop what they're doing. Yeah. Now, what is it? I think it's like 10, I'm pretty sure, right, Monaco? I'm pretty sure. 10.5.
There's a lot of people backing the Jim Schwartz narrative against Kyle Shanahan. Like, you look at like defensively, like he has been able to hold, and like the weather like plays heavily into the Browns.
Perhaps
like, if they can keep this game close, because it's like they want the game to be gross. Like they need it to be
gross, but we'll see what happens there. Monaco, let's get to you for another one. Before we do, everybody, just a reminder, if you're watching the show on YouTube, and again, you should be, make sure you drop a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the Betting Pros channel because you just might win an Odell Beckham Jr. jersey. That's right. We're giving this bad boy away for free. Just click that bell for notifications so you know every time a piece of content drops, you're on the channel. And if you are the big winner, again, subscribe, drop a comment, and the OBJ jersey could be yours. He's actually going to be on the field this week. So there you go. It's because I called him out on Monday and I said, we're giving this jersey away because he doesn't need it. And now he's like, you know what, Joe? Screw you. I'm going to play. So, Monaco, let's get to you for number 3 on your list for week 6. What do you got?
I love it. I'm going to go with the nicest dad in the NFL who probably voluntarily tucks in his shirt on a Sunday while he's barbecuing for the family. I'm backing Kirk Cousins, but I'm backing a lad in Jordan Addison with no Justin Jefferson to really step up. He too, kind of like Zay, was a big yards per catch guy at USC, but you look at Cousins and this offense. I'm tired of the slander, Joe Erickson. I'm tired of everyone blaming this guy. And I said this the other day, not to go too far off the rails, but he's a 35-year-old and his head coach is a 38-year-old. That's a senior and a freshman on campus. Are you respecting in the locker room a guy that's less than 1,000 days older than you? I think we got a real problem where we need somebody to say something with their chest. All that to say, I think it happens in the pass game in a big way. I love the Vikings this weekend. Look, the Bears are a bottom 2 pasty, giving up damn near 300. I look at the targets, the volume, the yards per catch. I factor it all in with Addison. He's got 3 tugs in 5 weeks. I don't hate that value as well. But I mean, Kirk's top 3 right now in passing yards. This is a Justin Jefferson-less offense. They're going to have to look to somebody. I actually like Osborne as well. I kind of flirted with both. But I mean, 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's got double-digit yards per catch outings. I like his chance here to go over 51.5, a humble number where it just could be a gross NFC North game in true Bears-Vikings fashion, but I think Addison eats.
Any concern at all with the weather and the elements in that one? Just out of curiosity.
A little bit, but, Addison's speedy. He's shifty. Mm-hmm. I think in those games, we all played tackle football growing up with no pads in middle school.
Did.
It was always the...
Some of us in college.
It was always the guys...
How do you think I got this nose, Monica?
What's that?
How do you think I got this nose?
I love it. No, yeah, weather's absolutely a factor, but I mean, this is a team that hasn't had a rushing touchdown all year.
Right.
So although they're going to score, they're going to move the football. Yeah, weather's a huge factor. I still think this is a guy in Addison that is going to cook. I'm gonna start him in a couple fantasy leagues as well. So I got high hopes for him this week.
I agree too. I'm another one I'm in on too. So far, you guys are crushing it, but the 51.5 is a small enough number too, because he's explosive. He could get his, on one play. That secondary is not good for the Bears too, and they've had injuries on that front too. All right, let's get back to you, Andrew Erickson, number 3 on your list for Week 6.
Rhamondre Stevenson, over 12.5 carries. You get this one at plus even odds. So look, the Patriots have to run the football. That's how the only way they're going to move the ball on offense.
Do they know that?
No, they do, but it's hard to run the ball when you look up and they're already down 2 touchdowns because Mac Jones threw another pick 6.
Sometimes I look up and they're down 4. It's amazing how fast I can look down and up again.
The one game that they weren't behind in from the beginning was against the Jets. Mm-hmm. And what did they do in that game? They ran the ball with Rhamondre and with Zeke Elliott, and they won that game. So that's their formula for success on offense, and it's about their best guy, and that's Rhamondre Stevenson. He was on the injury report last week, and then he had the lowest carries of the season. He's not on the injury report this week. He's going to get fed. The Raiders have a bad run defense. They're facing 30 carries per game on defense. It's not that hard for Belichick to, this is the game plan. Give the ball to Rhamondre. Let him make plays. So I think if you're hesitant on how bad he has been efficiency, you don't want to bet the rushing yards, that's fine. But bet the carries, because he's had at least 12 carries in every single game except for last week when things obviously got off the rails. So I think this is a sharp bet here.
Okay, let's go back to you, Andrew. Alex Monaco. Give me another one of your bets for Week 6.
Not super glamorous, but I'm looking at Kyren Williams here off a humble game. And, albeit against the number 1 Philly run D, giving up 61, he ran hard on 4.1, 13 for 53. He only has 100-yard game, but I'm looking at Arizona, coming off one heck of an L where Mixon put up a humble 81, but you look at the track record here, last few weeks, C-Mac went for over 100, Pollard went for over 120, even Daniel Jones hit a 59 piece with Saquon to complement with 63. I'm looking at this game. I think to me, yes, they could air it out with Matty Staff. I think it's actually maybe a little more of a ball control, time of possession approach for McVay. 7's a big number. All that to say, Kyren, I think he gets the volume. I think he gets the yards, 65.5 at home against, again, a bottom 10 run D that I think is not going to be able to handle. I mean, Williams, to me, embodies those 0-0 running backs. He's got a ton of physicality. I don't look at Arizona as a super physical defense. And I just think game plan wise, let's not forget, McVay does like to run the ball to set up the play action. You got Cutback out there. I think we can achieve a little 66 piece coming off the best run D in the league. I like this spot versus soft Arizona defense.
Now, don't forget, everybody, as you're making your picks, make sure you're not only utilizing the Betting Pros app, but also joining our NFL contest, bettingpros.com/NFL contest. It's free to join. You don't even have to have wagering viable in the state that you live. Just make your picks, log them in there, pick 5 a week, and you can win fabulous prizes. Like a Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed jersey. We're giving away also weekly prizes, monthly prizes. We're doing upgrades to Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros Premium. We're doing hats and t-shirts and fun stuff from our Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros swag shops. Get that maybe get that Big Pod Energy shirt here that I hear is coming down the road. Again, Erickson gets a shirt. I don't get a shirt. I don't know what the hell's going on here. But regardless, if you have the Betting Pros app, join that community tab right now. Click on that. Go to NFL Contest and join, or just go to bettingpros.com/NFL Contest. Erickson, back to you with another prop for Week 6. What do you have?
Going Zack Moss under 45.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess this is like a contrarian play on Zack Moss. I'm lowering him in fantasy. I want to bet the under. I know that the guy's run harder than the sun the last 4 weeks, stepping in for Jonathan Taylor. The dude has been an absolute monster. He's covered in butter. Guys cannot tackle him. Titans defense doesn't matter. Zack Moss. Have you met Zack Moss? So the thing is, I think he's still being viewed like he's going to be the starter this week. And yes, I think he's carved out a big enough role with his performance to play and be involved, but they still pay Jonathan Taylor. So the fact that I don't feel confident about the amount of volume that Zack Moss is going to get in this particular matchup against Jacksonville, which I think is another tough matchup. Looking at the Jaguars' run defense, what did the Bills do last week? They rushed for negative yards. So Jaguars are top 5 in fewest rushing yards allowed per game, 8th in expected points added against the run. So I just think that this is where the streak kind of comes to an end for Zack Moss. And I know that he ripped off those big runs against the Titans, but we talked about it a little bit earlier. Titans were injured on their defensive line. That wasn't the same unit that's always been shutting people out. So I think people are looking at it as like, oh, well, he did against the Titans. He can do it against anybody. Don't be so sure, because I think that this particular Jaguars front is really fierce and maybe even better than the Titans. So,
all right. So there you have it. Zack Moss, the worm's going to turn now. So now we go to the other side of the split for Zack Moss. All right. One more for each of the guys. Then we're going to get to our anytime touchdown calls. I know this is something with Logan Thomas here, Monaco, that Erickson was very in on, but he was late to the sheet. You were there first, so you get to talk about it.
Yeah, I love squad riding on the way out here. Last prop, best prop. Look, off obviously a double-digit target game last week, just imposed his will. He's a physical dude and sneaky athleticism. He's been banged up in his career, but 9 catches, 77 and a tutty. And I'm big on looking at, Yahoo, ESPN, who's picking up glue roster-wise. This dude went from 15% owned in Yahoo to 55 in a cup of coffee in a New York minute. So I take that. I look at last week. I look at how Atlanta's played tight ends in the last 3 weeks. I mean, look at Dalton Schultz. He had a coming out party last week, 7 for 65 and a tutty. Ingram in London went for 7 for 59, and Laporta still feasting against this Atlanta D, 8 for 84 and a tutty. So Atlanta is a pretty stingy pass D and actually pretty good defensively points per game wise. Doesn't look like they play tight ends that well. I'm seeing green on Yahoo. I'm seeing green for Erickson, and I'm going over 36 and a half.
There you go. Anything to add on that? Because I know you were in on that too, Erickson.
No, I think it's perfect. And I think we're starting to see Eric Bieniemy's offense. This is around tight ends. Like Logan, this isn't a flash in the pan for Logan Thomas. Thomas has been productive when he's been healthy, and this is a different offense than it's been in a couple years. So I think that they're going to continue to feature Logan Thomas, especially in the red zone. So I like the call.
Okay. Erickson, one more for you. It's one of the Chargers wide receivers. So here you go, Monaco. Let's go. Erickson, which one is it?
Going to Monday Night Football, I'm going under on Josh Palmer, under 53.5 receiving yards. And I feel bad because I hit a parlay with Josh Palmer over 2 weeks ago because he caught that 51-yard dart from Justin Herbert. But little did I know that he had done pretty much nothing the entire game up to that point. He had 2 catches for 26 yards through 59 minutes of gameplay. Now, I know they weren't throwing the ball nearly as much, but at the same time, don't be fooled by the 3 catches for 77 yards. It literally all came on that final play to seal victory for the Chargers against the Raiders. And I don't like this matchup against Dallas. 3rd fewest receiving yards allowed overall to wide receivers, 2nd lowest catch rate. I think Josh Palmer is okay. He's an okay wide receiver. I'm not going to call him a jag because that's insulting, because we're not doing that anymore. I think that Josh Palmer is a good receiver, but I don't think that he's elite or great. I think that he would struggle in this particular matchup. And what worries me from him from a target perspective is Austin Eckler's back. Eckler's going to get his targets in this offense. Quentin Johnson, rookie wide receiver, after the bye week, I would expect that they have a bigger plan in place for him. So Josh Palmer operating on the outside just doesn't really set up well for, unless he catches another long pass. I don't think that he's going to hit 53 and a half. I just think the number's honestly just too high. I really think it should be more around the 40s. And if you look at the projections that we have on the BettingPros prop cheat sheet, it's around 42 receiving yards is his projection. So I'm taking the under.
Yeah, certainly makes a lot of sense there. Lots of good logic behind all of that. Let's get to our anytime touchdown calls. And certainly it was a good rebound last week for the Cincinnati Bengals. And it feels like, Monaco, you want to keep those good feelings going.
Look, this is a heat check on a Saturday morning pickup game at the Y, Joe. I mean, he's draining it from 3. We just got to feed the big guy. I mean, you go 19 targets, you catch 15 of them, you go for 192, 3 tutties, and we don't even know about Higgins. Is he playing? Is he not? All that to say, I mean, Andy Dalton threw for 350 and put up 37 against this defense. I know Monday night's in our noggin. We all think that double-digit sack game, this is a really physical Seattle defense. It isn't in the secondary. They have been cooked, bottom 10 pass D, everywhere you look. The secondary has been banged up, but already 4 different receivers have hit 100 yards to start the season. That doesn't even include the Monday night game. All that to say, again, heat check moment. It's minus 110 on DraftKings. I will fall asleep and be okay losing some shekels on Chase if he goes cold, but I think he's getting some cash back there. A little B- dad pun. Chase, get the credit card sponsorship inked while you're hot, or at least make a call to 7-Eleven.
It's a no-brainer. How has that not happened yet already?
Come on.
Can I interest you in the 2 touchdowns at plus 650 on FanDuel?
Ooh. I mean, Higgins is out. I'm definitely going to take a peek.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. I think you can go for 2 scores, Aaron. You bring up a great point, too. That Seattle secondary is not good. Joe Burrow and Chase are going to be chalk this week. And you know what? I'm here for it. That's the good chalk as far as I'm concerned. Too.
And also, might I say, football psychology, they got the bye coming up.
Sure.
So just get to 3-3. Then you got a week off.
This is what they do every year. They start out terrible in September.
I call the Bengals an NBA team. They go on runs. It just takes a week to get the points back.
My number one bet of the week on my top 10 bets video here on the channel was bet the Cincinnati Bengals at plus 500 to win this division because it's at plus 5 right now. And if they win this week, you're not going to see that number again. I'll tell you right now, with the way the Ravens have looked or the way the Steelers have looked, with the Browns disintegrating in front of our eyes, everybody, if you haven't seen that video, I did a whole monologue on it, but go watch that. Go check it out on the YouTube channel at Betting Pros, because I'm telling you, this is it. This is the last time you're going to see that number. It's going to go away. It's going to be plus 350 or probably plus 300 after they win this week. What's it like, by the way, being around 2 Italians just yelling back and forth, Erickson? Is this comfortable for you or no?
I'm having a blast.
You loving it?
Fun.
Like season 1 of The Bear, that one, or
hey, cousin, hey, cousin, how many props you got, cuz? How are you doing?
I'm like, wait, are they actually cousins? Why does he keep calling him that?
No, Erickson. Let's get to your touchdown call of the week. Erickson, what do you got for the people?
I mean, I can't think of a better way to start my Sunday morning with a cup of coffee and a Zay Flowers touchdown. That's what I'm looking forward to waking up to. So Zay Flowers, we talked about it, obviously, with the receiving prop, we like that. But when it comes to Zay Flowers, just looking at some touchdown regression to kind of kick in for him. So when you look at receivers with the highest number of targets, receiving yards, and receptions to not score a touchdown, it's Zay Flowers. Like, he leads all those categories. So the more yards, the more time you touch the ball, you're just more likely to score. And the fact that he has 9 red zone touches over the last 5 weeks of the year, including carries, like, they're trying to get this guy the ball near the red zone. I can't imagine they're like, oh yeah, let's throw it to Odell Beckham again in the end zone. Yeah, that's not happening again. So I think Zay Flowers is a really good opportunity here. And I only think you can sprinkle in some first touchdown with Zay Flowers. You look at the Ravens, they've scored the first touchdown all 5 of their games. They've mostly been rushing touchdowns, but we know that we pointed out Titans' weakness is in the pass, not against the run. So I think that you could wake up even earlier. 9:35, you could wake up. Cash. Zay Flowers' first touchdown. You're feeling great about the entire Sunday slate.
Good way to start the day. Don't forget, everybody, also make sure you're using the prop bet cheat sheet here, because it's got all of the prop bets there for every single game. You can filter them very easily on the app or on bettingpros.com. You could also see the Fantasy Pros projections right next to them. And then, of course, where you get the best line. It's right there for you. So sync all your sports books. Use the tools at Betting Pros because they are phenomenal. And just to recap what everybody's in on this week, we got the touchdown calls of Jamar and Zay Flowers. I'll go 2 tutties for Jamar. That's how confident I am. We've got Erickson in on the DeVonta Smith over 4.5 receptions, Jerome Ford under 35.5 rushing yards, Rhamondre over 12.5 carries, Zack Moss under 45.5 rushing yards, and Josh Palmer under 53.5 rushing yards. Monaco is in on Gardner Minshew over 1.5 tutties. We've got Zay Flowers over 56.5 receiving, Addison over 51.5 receiving, Kyren Williams over 65.5 receiving yards, and then Logan Thomas over 36.5. You'd be, actually, I should say, Scott Bogman would be very proud of you, Alex Monaco, our own Scott Bogman, because life is too short for unders, and you've got none of them this week. So everybody, make sure you go follow this man over on social media, because he does a phenomenal job at Alex_Monaco. Check out his work at the Volume Network. Follow him on Instagram, too. He does hilarious videos. He's got the cojones to interview Jet fans on New Jersey Transit. That alone, my friends, I told him I love that video. It was so fun. Follow him on there. Go check out his work at the Volume Network. It's a great show. He's a fantastic betting personality and a good dude, a good Italian, a good cousin. And no, Erickson, we're not related. Although we might be. You never know. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Alex and Andrew, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.